Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Serrano. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the ZTE Blade V Smart, not to be mixed up with the ZTE V 2020 against the LG K50S. Now, both of these devices are at the price of $189, so that makes them pretty much almost dead even. Now, they both rock 720 displays, IPS LCDs. Now, the Blade V Smart is going to be 6.5 inches, and so is the K50S. So they have the exact same display panel size, which is kind of cool. Very similar color panels and color science that they're using. Really bright, really easy to see outdoors as well. Now we are getting that 720 by 1560 resolution on the ZTE versus 720 times 1520 on the LG K50S. Now, both of these devices are rocking similar camera arrangements, which is kind of cool. But let's talk about the cameras and everything like that, the specs and all the details that you need to know. So the V Smart actually came out in May 2020 this year, and it has 284 pixels per inch. Now the LG K50S has 259 pixels per inch, just slightly less pixels per inch, but they're both really nice display panels, just to say the least. You're gonna get 5 touch points on the ZTE Blade Smart, so it's gonna make it really easy for gaming. And the LG K50S, you actually get up to 5 touches as well. So pretty decent performance on the V Smart. As you can see right here, we're getting all the high-end games that we're going to be able to play at high graphics as well. Now, what helps that is that we're getting the MediaTek Helio P60, which is actually a really nice entry-level budget processing chip, which is actually good for mid-range, entry-level budget mid-range phones that are like no more than $200. But the P60 definitely is one of the better chipsets in the MediaTek family, because it's going to give you really good performance without any delays or stuttering. And what I did notice is that you can play NBA 2K on here without any signs of stutter or lag. So that's definitely a good sign for the ZTE Blade V Smart. And this device is actually really good to play games on. Even the colors and everything about the gameplay on this device is suitable and recommendable. So you're getting that scratch resistant glass as well, 2.5D. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of internal storage, which is actually really cool. This device uses 2 SIM card slots and a dedicated SD card slot as well. So I definitely think that's a really good thing, because you're going to be able to put 2 SIM cards in here. Now, we do get a triple camera setup just like the LG K50S. Now, the main camera sensor is a 16 megapixel, the ultra wide camera is an 8 megapixel, and the 2 megapixel main camera, actually the 2 megapixel for depth shots. Now on the K50S, we're getting a pretty decent processing power on this device. It's a Helio P22 12nm processing chip. I have no issues with this processing chip. It's done really good. It works great on the Alcatel 3V 2019 that TCL made earlier in the year. I really like that device. Now, some of the things that are really cool about this device is the battery size, 4000 milliamp hour non-removable battery. And I really like this device. It just falls short of $200 in the budget arena, so you're able to get this device for definitely a really competitive price point versus the ZTE Blade. Hoping that the Blade ZTE company actually makes its way back in the US, but they have been busy releasing a lot of phones. You'll see they have not stopped releasing devices, so I definitely can say that their entry-level budget devices still match up really well with LG's entry-level budget devices too. And LG's device right here has no lag whatsoever. So the Helio P22 actually competes really well with the Helio P60 when it comes to this price point. Now, we are getting similar specs. We're getting 3 gigabytes of RAM on the LG K50S and 32 gigabytes of internal storage. So, and dedicated SD card slot, so you can expand the storage up to 2 TB if you did so desire. 13 megapixel main camera on, I'm sorry, 13 megapixel main camera, 5 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel depth sensor, and a 13 megapixel main shooter on the K50S, the LG K50S. So I definitely think that it's cool that both devices also give you the option for the headphone jack. So the LG K50S does have Bluetooth 5.0 technology. The ZTE Blade V Smart does have Bluetooth 4.2 technology. So it's going to be a little bit better on the LG K50S. I did kind of wish they put the DTS audio on the LG K50S, but we are getting DTS audio on the ZTE Blade V Smart. So you're going to get a lot better quality when it comes to loudness and customization for the audio on the ZTE Blade V Smart. Now, another thing that's really cool is that the ZTE Blade V Smart does give you 18 watts of fast charging. So you're going to get that fast charging on there, really fast, really quick. It's going to give you a pretty decent charging speed. Now, the shots on the LG K50S, you get that wide angle camera on pictures and video. You don't get the video on the ZTE Blade V Smart, but the color science, the AI mode on here is really good. Even the selfies and the bokeh come out really well. I didn't have any issues with this phone at all when it comes to the cameras as far as still shots. Now, video, you will see that it does take that ultra wide angle, which is really cool, 120 degrees. Really nice to get all that detail in the shot. Also, there's no stabilization on this camera, so just bear that in mind, but you can use Google Photos to stabilize it post editing. Now, on the ZTE Blade V Smart, we did get a decent camera. Really good details on the front shooter of the ZTE Blade V Smart. Now that is a I believe it's an 8 megapixel on the ZTE Blade V Smart camera, an 8 megapixel shooter on the front, and the rear did a really good job. We get a 16, an 8, and a 2 megapixel on the rear. Really good detail on those front facing portrait shots. I find that those came out really good. The AI camera on this phone came out really nice. When you can see the leaves, autumn leaves, took some really good colors. Also, lack of EIS image stabilization on here, but really decent build quality with that quad camera setup. All plastic bodies on both. However, the LG K50S does have the military grade standard, which is really good for dust, drops, and dirt. Now, both of these devices are built really nicely for entry-level budget devices. I have no issues with either one of these things. Quad camera setups. Now you can see that the arrangement, you got that square box on the ZTE Blade V Smart and that rectangular cylinder on the the LG K50S. Now, button placement is really different. We're going to have a Google Assistant button dedicated for the LG K50S, which I do find really helpful. I never really false touch that thing. It's in the perfect spot in my opinion. Now, as far as the displays go, they're both really impressive for 720 panels. I'm a really huge fan of both of them. Really enjoy that they both have wide angle for taking pictures as well as bokeh. And the details on both of the photos and pictures always come out good in decent lighting. You won't have any issues with that in any way possible. Now, the only shortcomings at this price point is you won't get any metal in the design aesthetics. There's no metal as far as the build quality. Everything is pretty much plastic. No waterproofing or anything like that, but the LG K50S is military standard, so you will get some slight water resistancy with that phone over top of the ZTE Blade V Smart, so just bear that in mind. But overall it's pretty decent processing. Android 9 on both of these devices, so the latest software is 11 at this point, but most phones won't even get the 11. Most phones will be stuck on the Android 10 for a long time. So the only phones that really have 11 is the OnePlus devices and the Google devices. So it's not really a big update for all Android users. But when it came to the viewing experience of media, I really didn't have any issues outdoors with either one of these things. They both had really good color science outdoors, and even though there was a glare there from the IPS display technology, you will be able to see everything that you're looking at on the screen. So when it came to the displays outdoors when viewing content on the LG K50S, it did get plenty bright, and you could actually boost it up to full brightness too as well. But I always turned it on auto brightness just so it can adjust itself. And there wasn't any issues with this display panel. I really like the size of it. It's a really large display panel. Same deal with the ZTE Blade V Smart. It was a really good phone to hold in the hand. That fingerprint sensor you could get to every time. It was really fast on the LG K50S. I didn't have any issues reaching it in any way possible. Really decent build quality overall. Now, as far as the overall build quality on the ZTE Blade V Smart, you did get that plastic material front and back and or all around, glass on the front as well. No Gorilla Glass either, but the fingerprint was in a nice spot. Really nice display as well. Decent cameras on the LG K50S and on the ZTE Blade V Smart. So both of these phones actually match up really, really well for the price point. But if you found this video helpful in any way possible, your support and appreciation would be truly, definitely would appreciate a like and show your support and appreciation. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, later, crew. Have a great